I'm Sabrina, one of the bootcamp pros on the team. If you're familiar with the channel, you may have seen some of my videos. I'm just here to hang out too and watch along with you guys. Kristin's really doing all the hard work here, so I'm here to help out, answer any questions, things like that. So yeah, excited to see what y'all choose and what we build.
Thank you so much for being here, Sabrina. It's always so helpful, especially when you're demoing, to have an additional eye and someone to help talk through it. So thank you so much. I'm Kristin Dominguez. I'm another bootcamp pro on Devlin's team and a freelance instructional designer. You might have also seen some of my videos on the channel. So super excited to build with you all today. And it looks like we have a pretty clear winner. Okay, I was hoping this was going to be the one picked, but I really thought that the tab interaction was going to be the winner. So I'm really excited to build this. Software simulations are always really fun. I am going to go ahead and get started with this demo, but I will say I do want to start. I'm going to close this real quick. I have my project 3 files here and ready to go, just because that's all we're going with project 3. That's what we're going to be working on. And I do want to say that we are going to be setting this up. I'm going to build with everyone, and there might be some times where I'm just going to demo something and you don't have to follow along, because I just want to show you how I got to something or how I decided to do something, and I'll probably end up pressing back a bunch of times, and I don't want you to follow along and get overwhelmed or anything like that. And so there are times where I might just say, okay, follow along, watch my demo, and then we'll duplicate it after. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start with setting our file up. So I'm going to open up PowerPoint, and you can all do the same right now. You can follow along with me. So if you open PowerPoint, all you're going to do is open up a new blank presentation. And it's going to look like this. I also do want to say that I will stop from time to time just to make sure we're ready and checking in. We'll try to help from here or there. But remember, just like Sabrina said, if you get stuck and overwhelmed, it can be helpful to just watch, see what's going on in the chat, try to troubleshoot. And then if anything, you can always watch the replay after. So now that we are on this new screen right here, I'm going to start by saving my project. So I'm just going to save as, and from here, I'm just going to save this as software simulation. For demo purposes, I usually save things to my desktop, but you can go ahead and save this wherever you want. But I just want to save this so everything is good to go. Now, I also want to shout out, this is just a demo. You don't have to change anything here. And especially if you watched this video earlier, our first video, you probably noticed that you need to make sure that you change the slide size. We actually don't need to do this with the simulation. Let me go ahead and show you the slide size. If I go to the design tab and go to slide size, you can see that it's already set to 16:9, which is actually what we want. We're going to make the software simulation at the 16:9 size, but it is important to note that if you want to import this into Storyline, it automatically is going to start at a 4:3. So that means that means when we go to Storyline, we'll need to change the dimensions to 16:9, if that makes sense. We don't have to do that here because we are going to be working with 16:9 ratios. So go ahead and set that up, and you can delete these boxes. They're not really needed. And then from there, I am going to go through and show you a demo of how I got these screenshots. Now, you do not need to follow along with this, but I do just want to show you how to get screenshots if you want to simulate this in the future. So you can go ahead and just sit back, relax. If you're still setting up your screen, you can go ahead and do that. All you need to do is save your file and have one slide on the screen. And as I'm going through this demo, Sabrina, if there's any questions, let me know at the end of this, if that's okay with you. So I did want to share, there are 2 things that you want to do, or at least 2 things you want to do when you're considering taking screenshots. And the first thing is to set your display screen to your slide size. So for that, I'm going to right click and go to display settings. And if I go down to this display resolution here, it's already at a high definition resolution. So I technically could do this because the ratio is 16:9, but I went and tested it out with changing my screenshot to 16:9. And when I took my screenshots, it was much more clear. So I'm just going to keep the changes for that so you can see. And then from there, I'm going to pull up Storyline. And you'll see that Storyline will open here. Do a new project. And I took these screenshots using Storyline, and then I also used Snagit. So I'm going to pull Snagit right here. Snagit is a screenshot software that is super easy to use. It's one of my favorites. And then from there, I'm just going to go ahead and I have it on a countdown. I'm going to take a full screen screenshot. And that's exactly how I did that. But probably, there's one thing I actually forgot to talk about. It didn't show up there. But one thing you want to notice, you notice that my taskbar went away when I took the screenshot, which is what I want. But if yours doesn't go away, what you'll do is you just want to right click and go on the taskbar settings. And then from there, you just want to make sure that, okay, there we go, taskbar behavior. And then you'll automatically hide the taskbar. Sorry, that's why. I already had it checked, so it wasn't popping up. But that's all you want to do is automatically hide that taskbar. Now, with that being said, that's just a brief demo of how I got those screenshots. Are there any major questions right now or any major holdbacks before we move on to actually starting with our setup?
One of the big questions was, are we starting with a brand new PowerPoint file? And then if so, how do we save it while we're working on it?
Yes. So I opened up a brand new, I just opened up a brand new slide and created new. And then to save it, I just did save as. Is that the question?
Yeah. I guess I just weren't sure what format to save it now until we're ready for turning it into a prototype.
Perfect. Yes, good question. Oh, yes, good question. And so especially if you watched the video before, you might have seen that I said that you can save it as a PowerPoint show, and you absolutely can, but I would recommend doing that after. Here, you can just save it as a PowerPoint. So wonderful question. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to explain the storyboard. So I'm going to drop that. Has that been dropped in the chat yet? If not, can we drop that in the chat? That would be wonderful. And I will go ahead and show this on screen here. So here's the storyboard that we're going to be working with, and I'm just going to explain my process in terms of how I wrote this and what this all means. So here we have the story size, and it's 16 by 9. And then I have a couple of things for each slide. So we have the concept. So basically, what is the idea for this slide? We have on-screen text. And if you go down through all of these slides, you'll notice that there's no on-screen text on any of these purposefully, because it's a software simulation. We do have some audio. So this is just the transcript of the audio. And then there's a link to the audio here if you had trouble downloading it first, as well as some programming notes, how we're going to make it interactive, along with the visuals. So what does the visual look like on that slide? This is really just more so for ease of use for you to see what image goes on each slide. And then I have the link to the image there too, just in case anyone had trouble with designing this. So this is what we're going to use. And I am just going to set this up so that I can build with my storyboard open. I do want to share too that these are all linked so that if you want to open up the outline, you can always click on the different slides. It makes it a little bit easier to get where you want to go. But I'm just going to go ahead and set this up so that I can see it on the side, and then PowerPoint so that I can see and build in PowerPoint. So you don't have to have your storyboard open exactly like this. You can have it however you want, but the most important thing is you want to be able to copy and paste where needed, if you need to. I guess for here, you don't have to do it as much because you already have the images downloaded. So let's go ahead and first off, before we do anything, just take a moment and look through all the content on the slides, specifically the concept. And you're welcome to just think about it or put in the chat, what are some similarities? Like, let's try to envision what we're building before we actually start building, because that's how you can identify how to save time. For example, maybe you want to build one slide and duplicate it a bunch of times because it's a similar format. So go ahead and look at those and put your guesses on, like, what are your thoughts here? Do you think that we'll go with the format of building all of these slides separately, or do you think we'll duplicate them based on the concept? It's totally fine if you don't get it right at all. It's just a guess here.
Seeing lots of duplicate come in.
All right, good, awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So now we're ready to build. So we're going to go ahead and start doing that. And the first thing that we want to do, well, let's actually just look at our storyboard first. So the slide is a feature of a storyline image, and it's going to take up the full slide. And then on that, only specific clickable areas are indicated by the audio on that slide. So basically, only clicking on certain areas will advance to the next slide, which is super, super important for interactivity. We also have some audio that is going to include the start double click, and then we have some programming notes, and this is just the picture that we're going to use. So you can copy and paste that picture in there, but what I always like to do, especially since we set up all the assets, is I'm going to insert a picture. So to do that, I'm going to go to insert pictures, and go from this device. And then from there, I'm going to locate my files. I know I'll try to go a little bit slower here. And I'm going to go to images. And you can see that I've named these intentionally so that it's really easy for you to insert, because I know we're dealing with a lot of images. So here, project 3, slide 1, this is the one that I'm going to insert. So I'll leave this up just for a moment, but go ahead and insert project 3 on slide 1. And then you should get an image here. Now, we want it to be full screen. And so what you can do is you can actually just drag it to make it full screen. It's going to scale at the right sizing because we took it with that 16:9. So this is exactly what we want to see. But okay, you're going to go ahead and insert that picture here, and that's where we're going to start. We have this full size image. Anyone stuck? Any big heavy hitting questions yet?
Would you be able to demo inserting the picture one more time?
Sure. So I'm going to go, so you can just copy and paste it from the storyboard if you're having trouble. But if you want to know generally how to import it, you'll just go to insert at the top. You'll go to pictures, you'll pick, and then you'll locate wherever you put the file when you downloaded it. So I just put it in my desktop. And so that's what you'll do. And then from there, I just picked project 3, slide 1.
And then you made the picture full size. Why was that?
So looking at the storyboard, the slide features an image of the storyline to take up the full slide. So 1, I'm doing the storyboard, but 2, this is a software simulation. So we want it to look as accurate as the software as we possibly can. And so when we share this, we want it to reflect storyline, and storyline doesn't have like a white padding on the end. So yeah, that's exactly why we made a full slide. So now, normally, if we want to duplicate everything, you would think, let's go ahead and add the audio in and then duplicate everything, and then we can just go replace everything and everything works perfectly. You can't do it like that because it won't let you change out the audio. So for example, let me just show you on screen here. So here, if you wanted to change the picture, you can do that. There's a change the picture option. But if you want to change audio, it doesn't have that option. So what we're actually going to do is duplicate these slides first. It's the first thing we're going to do after we've inserted this image. So just quick demo here, and then you can do whatever, you can go about it however you want. But the quickest way, one way to duplicate is to right click and just go to duplicate slide. But I'm going to go Control Z here to go back. But a quicker way to do that is just to Control D, and it's going to duplicate that slide as well. Another way you could do that, although not as short or convenient, is just to copy and paste the slide. But regardless, there's 7 slides total here. And so that's what you want to have on screen. You want to have 7 slides in total. So that's what we're going to do. So go ahead now. That was just a quick demo. Now you can go ahead and duplicate slides. So for me, I'm just going to do Control D until there's 7. So Control D, copy, paste, whatever you need to do. But all slides right now should look exactly the same size. It's exactly how we want to do it. And then for anyone that's already with me, who's already done with this, what are your thoughts in terms of like, what do you think the next step is to do with the pictures? So the next step is we're just going to go through all of these pictures and we're just going to replace the image. So just look at your screen if you're stuck on anything, just to know exactly how to do this. I kind of showed this earlier, but want to show you exactly how. What you're going to do on slide 2, and you want to be super careful and make sure you're on the right slides here. You click on the picture on the image, and you're going to right click and go to change picture. So right click, change picture, and then go to this device. And then from there, all you need to do is put each picture where it belongs. So I try to title it super easy so it's easy to follow along, but that's what you'll do here. So slide 2, you're going to replace that. And you're going to keep moving along with that. So you can go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to do it just out loud as I'm building, but you can go ahead just to make sure that we get through all steps. You can go ahead and start doing this now. So again, all you're going to do is change out each picture on the slide. So I'm on slide 3. I'm going to go to change picture and I'll put slide 3. Then I will just continue that. Slide 4. Right click, change picture from this device, place in slide 4. Slide 5. And I know if you haven't used PowerPoint before, this might be super, super overwhelming. Maybe it's not if you've used it a lot, but just know it gets easier with time. And it's very easy when you do prototyping. The biggest thing that you want to think of and keep in mind is what's going to save me the most amount of time. So again, it's much easier to just replace this picture than to just upload it onto every single slide and figure out where you can do that when possible. So now I've gone ahead and changed out all of the layers here so that each of these pictures looks good. And I know you're probably still working on that. While you're working on that, feel free to keep working. I'm going to show you what this looks like as a slideshow. So I'm going to view from the beginning, and right now we don't have any of the interactivity involved at all. So basically clicking anywhere should move me to the next slide. And all I'm checking for here is that everything's lined up, and it should be because we took the screenshots in a 16:9 format. We took all the screenshots. I took all the screenshots at the same time. So if I'm clicking, it should literally look seamless, like nothing's kind of jumping around. You can see that the design tab popped up here and nothing's really jumbling around other than what's supposed to. Like, for example, this is a pop-up, and this is exactly how it looks like in Storyline. So here, as I'm clicking through, it looks pretty seamless. It's clear, it's not pixelated, and everything works exactly how I want it to. Now, before we move on to another round, are there any big questions, Sabrina? Anyone's really stuck? Anything I need to go over one more time?
I gave an answer, but I'm curious about your answer. So there's lots of questions about, so we added the image on top of the slide and didn't set it as the background. Is there a reason why we didn't, or could you still set it as the background?
You could. That's a great question. You absolutely could set as a background. Now, for me, the biggest thing, and there might be a way to do this in background, but for me, I want to add alt text, especially when we get into Storyline. So I find that it's usually easier to do alt text rather than if it's embedded in the background. But that's a good question. To be quite honest with you, I've actually never tried to add alt text to a background. I don't know if it's possible, so I'd be curious to see, but that's generally the main reason that I do that. And that's a really great question. All right, so the next step is to insert the audio. So there's a couple things that we want to keep in mind when we do this. So first off, if you're kind of looking to the side, at least for demo purposes, I'd go ahead and look at the screen. And I'm going to show you how to insert the audio and some things to keep in mind as we're kind of moving through a simulation. So you'll go to Insert, and then you will go to, hold on. Sorry, I need to make my screen bigger to see the audio, but you'll go to Insert Audio and then Audio on my PC. And then from there, I named these again, so it's pretty easy to just follow along with these slides. So this is slide 1 audio, so that's what I'm going to insert. And there's a couple other things that I want to do for software simulation purposes, but again, I'm thinking in terms of efficiency here. And I find it much more efficient to do the same action at the same time. For example, so right now I'm getting in the habit of adding all the audio to all the slides, and I find that my brain works so much easier when I just do that first. So first I'm going to add all the audio, then I'm going to add all of the settings, if that makes sense. And so you don't have to worry about where the audio is right now. I know it's in the center of the screen, and we'll end up going back to that. But that's what I'm going to do now. So my next step is to add audio to all slides and the right audio to all slides. So I've done that to 1, and that's just a basic demo. So now you can go ahead, and I'm just going to talk out loud while I'm doing this, but you can go ahead and make sure that you're adding in audio to all slides. So I'm on slide 2. I'm going to go ahead and go to audio from my PC. And this is slide 2. So I'm inserting slide 2. Then we'll go to slide 3. I'm going to insert my audio and go to slide 3. And again, don't be overwhelmed if this is moving a little faster than you want it to. I'm trying to slow down and check in where I can, but remember that if you get stuck and it's super overwhelming, you can always come back and watch the video after and really just focus on demo right now or troubleshooting, whatever works best for you. All right, so we're on slide 4 too. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the audio, slide 4. I'm gonna go to slide 5. Insert here. Do the same thing for 6. And then 7.
And then Kristin, when you're done, a question that we got pretty often in the chat is, what did you use for the audio recording? What program did you use?
That's a great question. I actually used PowerPoint for this, which is really interesting because there are better audio out. There's better audio out there. But I actually found that I tried recording here. I tried using a couple of online platforms, and I found that PowerPoint actually gave me the best sounding recording. So I just imported did it right into Storyline. I think it's been a couple of days since I did this, but all I did was I went to audio and I recorded audio. And so yeah, if you have your own software that you want to use, go for it. But I just did it in PowerPoint and then exported it for all of you guys. So yeah, that's a good question. So that next step was to add audio to all slides. So make sure you're finishing that up. But I do want to show you a demo of what it looks like. You don't need to demo it as well. I just want to show you because, again, I'm going to show you that we added all the audio in, but there's still some things we need to do. So just showing you, if I preview this from the beginning, there's nothing happening. The sound's not working, and that's a problem for me. Well, it's a problem for all of us because we're all creating the same project. And so you'll notice that I have to click on it for it to, I need to turn the sound off. So you have to click on it to make it work. So we want to change the playback settings. So to do that, again, just quick demo, and you'll have to do this after, is if you click on the audio, at the top of this, you will see that there's a playback option. And then from there, where you see the start, right now it's set to in click sequence. And so what you'll do is you'll use the drop-down menu, and then all that's gonna do is make it start automatically. So one more time really quickly, you go to insert, or I'm sorry, no you don't. You click on the audio tab and you click on playback. And then up here where it says start, all you do is bring that drop down to automatically. That's the quick demo, and just demoing through you really quick. Oops. Hold on one sec. Did I do this right? Okay. Perfect. So now when I start on the beginning, the slide should set as we're supposed to. Oh, and my sound's off, which is why you can't hear it.
Double click on the slide area in the center of your screen.
Perfect. So that's exactly what I wanted. So now for all of you, that's exactly what you're going to do. And this is why I feel like it helps work a little bit quicker when you're doing the same action at the same time. So you don't have to remember how to do everything. So now you're just going to go down and do the same thing with this audio. So you're going to click, you're going to do everything from slides 2 through 7. So you're going to click here. You're going to go to automatically. And I'm going to do the same thing with all of the other slides. So I'm going to change the playback to automatically. And I will say there might be other ways to insert the audio in here. I played around with a couple options, but if anyone knows of other ways to change out this audio a little bit quicker, I'm always happy to hear tips from others as well. Okay, I'm doing the same thing with slide 6, going to playback and changing this to automatically. And then now I'm doing the same thing with slide 7. So I'm going to stop here while some of you are catching up. Is there anything we're stuck on or any major questions, Sabrina?
I guess so. One of the other ones, there are some shortcuts, I think, being shared of how to add in the audio quicker.
Awesome.
And then some people are having trouble with audio being added into their PowerPoint files. but I think we're troubleshooting that in the chat.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, definitely share those shortcuts. I'll check them out after because I know that I'm going to get too inspired and start checking them all out if we do that. But I will check them out after. But if you all want to get those
There's
shortcuts,
another one too about is there, oh, where did it go? I lost it now. Oh no, I lost it. Well, there was one question too about like how can you check to make sure you have the right audio file on the correct slide before you start moving any further. So like, is there a way to preview it?
oh yeah, you
When
can
you
just
add audio?
so you can just click on it and listen.
Nice work. You successfully changed the slide size.
So yeah, that's all you need to do.
And then if you can demonstrate one more time how you were able to make it play automatically for the slide, like when we're in preview
Sure.
view.
Sure. So all you need to do is I'm going to go click on slide 1 just for ease of use. And you just need to click on the sound icon. And then up at the top where it says playback, where I'm putting my mouse right here, you just need to go to playback. And then where it says start, it normally will be set to in click sequence, but you just need to set it to automatically there. And that's it. And again, if you're troubleshooting and PowerPoint's super new to you, feel free. Again, you can follow along. And if maybe you can't get it set to automatically yet, you can still keep moving along and maybe go back and troubleshoot after if you want to follow along at the exact pace. But yeah, I know how it can be overwhelming when you're following along, and there might be an issue or there. And so don't feel stressed. We'll have this playback after so that you can always watch it and troubleshoot anything. But now that we've added all the audio and that they're playback, everything should be working almost. But there is one thing, and that is when I'm previewing my slide, I don't want
on how to change the slide size and articulate storyline.
Okay, muting myself. I don't want them to click on the audio here, especially because like in Storyline, if you add a timeline, they might be able to click around. That's great, but you can't just click on the slide and it's going to go to the next, and it's going to go to the next. So I want to actually move this out of their reach. And so to do that, quick demo here. Oh, I'm already, see, this is so good. The screenshots are so good. I felt like I was in Storyline for a second and moving this around like I was in Storyline. But actually what you're going to do is, I like to make my, this a little bit smaller. And all I do is I literally just drag the audio down so you can't see it on the screen. So it's right below. And so basically they can't click it. So it's still going to play on screen. I'll just show you really quick what that looks like. Take my sound off.
The slide size and articulate storyline. To start, double click on the slide area in the center of your screen.
So we have that there. So you're just going to do the same thing with all of these. All you're going to do is take this icon and you're going to drag it below. You can also drag it to the side, wherever you want to drag it, as long as it's off the screen. That's really all that matters, is that you cannot see it. So I'm going to go through and move this down again. This is a pretty quick step. Perfect. All right, so again, all you want to do is make sure that you're dragging that sound icon outside of the screen. And from there, everything should be almost ready to start adding interactivity.
Here's a good question. So you're moving the audio down off the slide. Can they just move the picture, bring it to the front so that the audio is behind the picture? Will that still work?
Yeah, that absolutely works. And that's the great thing about PowerPoint, is like there's so many different ways to work with it. And so that should work absolutely. Really, all that matters is that you want to make sure that there's audio attached to the slide so that when you import it into Storyline, it works. But yep, that's an awesome alternative for sure. I think that's the best part about these workshops, is just like learning other shortcuts, learning how other people work. I think it's really cool. So yeah, keep sharing those. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're about ready to add interactivity, but is there any lingering major things that we need to address or answer before I go ahead and move on to that?
No, I think we're good.
Awesome. All right, so quick demo. You don't have to watch this right now, but if you watch our last YouTube video, you notice that if I'm playing this from the beginning, I'm gonna go ahead and mute my sound. Technically, we want it to work as the storyboard is showing, is we want it to work and only work when we're clicking on something specific. And so we're gonna add a trigger that does that, but the way Storyline works, or I'm sorry, PowerPoint works, is that if you click anything, it's just gonna move on. So you need to make sure that this is in kiosk mode. And to do that, all you need to do is go up to slideshow at the very top. So you navigate to slideshow, you go to setup slideshow, and then all you need to do is browse at the kiosk full screen. So this, and then if you only have one monitor, it will show, like, it's only going to show full screen. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't halt anything. Like I only have another monitor for this demo. I usually only have one big monitor too. And so just keep that in mind because it was a little startling to me at first. So one more time, slideshow, setup slideshow, and browsed at kiosk. And I'll show you one more time from the beginning. The way this is set up, I'm clicking around and nothing's happening. There's no way for me to get to the next slide right now because we haven't added any interactivity. And that's exactly what I want right now. I don't want them to advance to the next slide because I want this to simulate a prototype as much as possible. So that's the next step, is to add interactivity. And so quick demo here of how to add interactivity, especially because this might look a little bit different than what I demonstrated in the Storyline video, because or not the story, I keep saying Storyline because I'm looking at Storyline. But what I demoed in the PowerPoint prototyping video was navigating a button to go to another slide. And we're going to do that here, but because we don't want to have buttons on screen, let me go back to my storyboard here. Because all that's showing on screen is this picture right here, we need to make a transparent trigger essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'll show my full screen again. Demo for now. Demo, I'm going to insert a shape and I'm going to insert it over. I'll show you the storyboard. So the storyboard, let's see, only specific clickable areas indicated by the audio in the slide will advance. So the audio tells me to double click on the slide area in the center of the screen. So that's what I'm going to do. So I want this button right now to go over the center of the screen. So that's what I'm going to do. And then from there, the only other thing I need to do, well, there's two things, is I need to make this transparent. So let's see. To do that, I go to Format Shape. This is actually, I got right click, go to Format Shape. And if you go to Fill, the drop down here, you just want to move the transparency to 100 so that nothing's there. So it will look like nothing's there. And then you can see that there is an outline, and I don't want an outline on that because, again, I don't want them to see this at all. So now you can go ahead and try work around again. I'm going to do this one more time because, again, this was just a demo. So you can go ahead and work along with me, but go ahead and add this on your own. We'll be able to kind of copy and paste after this. So don't worry too much about replicating this every single time. So again, you can follow along with me. I'm going to go up here to insert. Then I'm going to go to shape. I'm just going to do a little square shape here. And we're going to add it where we want it to click. And then from there, you're going to right click on that shape. You will go to Format Shape. And then from there, you have, all you need to do is go to the drop down and fill. You're going to make the transparency 100%. And to the drop down line, you're going to make that no line. So there we have our box. I know that one's probably the most steps for anything. So I know I do want to make sure we get to the end of the simulation, but I do want to make sure if there's any major questions about that, we do get that answered. So is there any problems coming up in the chat, Sabrina?
So yeah, one of the questions was at some point, I guess it started to get a little glitchy for people and they weren't able to see how you put it to kiosk mode.
Oh, okay. So up here to kiosk mode, all you need to do is go to slideshow and you go to setup slideshow and go into browse at kiosk mode. So just slideshow, setup slideshow, browse at kiosk. Were there any questions? And with I do show that in the YouTube video too. So if you want to go back to a demo, it's also there. Sabrina, were there any questions about the specific, like getting the transparent box?
No, I don't see any. There was just some conversation about why you would make it transparent as opposed to no fill, because no fill makes it empty. So there's nothing in there to click. Kind of just makes it like a picture frame, just the outside pieces there.
Yeah, exactly. So again, there's another, if I'm understanding you correctly, there's lots of different ways to do the trigger, but I generally go through with transparency just because, I don't know, I'm so used to Storyline and that's how I usually would do it in Storyline. But yeah, if you have other ways to do it, all that matters is that you have some transparency on your screen. Did I understand that correctly, Sabrina?
Yeah, we were just talking about if you take the fill out, then it makes it empty. So what you're clicking is still the picture in the background, but not actually the shape. So you want transparency that there's still something there to click on.
Perfect. Okay, so this next step, we're going to add in the interactivity. And so I am going to go through this and just kind of show you exactly where we want this. And again, I want to make sure that we get through everything. And so if you're not able to follow along, it might be helpful to just watch the demo and you can replicate it after because we will have this posted. But the next thing we need to do is add that interactivity. So to do that, I'm going to click on the box. Okay. So you're going to right click and you're going to go to link on your transparent box. Then you'll go to place in this document. And really all the slides here, you can go and you can link it to the next slide. So let's see, all of them are going to go to the next slide. So like slide 1 will link to slide 2, slide 2 will link to slide 3. So for slide 1, all you're going to do is link this to slide 2. And that's really all you need to do for that specific thing. And this is what you're going to do for the rest of these. So I'm going to go through, and again, I'm going to talk through what I'm doing. So I will go through how I'm adding the interactivity through all of these. And so let's see, you are welcome to follow along or just watch if it's a little bit easier for you. But that is the next step that I want to take. Sorry, I'm going to do my screen a little bit smaller just so I can see this here. So slide 2. So on slide 2, I'm actually going to copy my box here and I'll go to slide 2. Slide 2, it's an image that takes up the whole slide. Clicking anywhere will have no effect. So this next thing is we want to go to the design tab. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to copy this hyperlink here and I'm going to move it here. And all I'm going to do is add it over the design tab here. So that's where I want them to be able to click. So I'm going to add the design tab. And the next thing I need to do, I have it where I want it. But the next thing I need to do is go to edit link. And instead of slide 2, I want it to go to slide 3. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Perfect. So slide 1 goes to slide 2. And I'm going to keep following along with this same format. Again, feel free to follow along or just watch the demo if you want to know how to do this and replicate it after. Slide 3 is, I'm going to copy this here. Let's see. Slide 3, they want to select slide size setup at the top of the screen. So I'm putting my box here and I'm going to drag my box over slide size setup. It's exactly where I want it. And there, I'm going to edit the link. I'm going to go to slide 4. And that's exactly where I need that. Now I'm going to go to slide 4. And again, I'm just using the audio to guide me because that's where it's directing me. you can customize the dimensions by using the preset option or selecting your own dimensions. We'll use the preset for now. So it asks them to select the drop down in the preset menu. So what we're going to want to do is go here. And I'm just going to drag a transparent rectangle around the preset menu. I'll right click and go to edit link and make sure that this goes to slide 5. That's where I want it to go. Same thing. I'm going to move down to the next slide. And we are going to select the 16 by 9 slide dimension. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy my hyperlink and drag it exactly over where I want it right there. So that when they click on it, there, I'm going to right click, go to edit link, and I'm going to make sure, since this is slide 5, that it's going to link to slide 6. Perfect. Moving to slide 6, we need to select OK to finalize the change. So I'm going to move this down to OK. Right click, go to edit link. Since this is slide 6, I'm going to route it to slide 7. Perfect. And then the last one, so clicking anywhere essentially will have no effect. So basically, I don't want to add any triggers there. I really just wanted to add that basic interactivity to make sure that everything works. And again, I know we might still be following along here. I know that we might have not been able to do the triggers that fast, but really, it really is the same format. Is you add something in, make it transparent, and then go ahead and move it on to the next. Are there any major heavy hitters that we need to address, Sabrina, before we go into previewing this?
Yeah, if you don't mind just doing the right-clicking one more time to show how you hyperlinked the first shape that you were copying.
Sure.
So how did you initially add the hyperlink?
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this link right now just to show you. So after I added this in, I right-clicked and I selected link. And then it brings up this pop-up. It normally will open up to existing file, but all you need to do is place in this document, and then you just need to click whatever slide you want it to go to. So this slide 1, I'm linking to slide 2. Perfect. Okay. Okay, how are we doing? Are we ready to preview now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead. You're welcome to preview too, but well, you will want to preview if that's the most important thing, especially because when you're following along, maybe you missed a step, or maybe you did something twice, or you do want to, of course, make sure you test it on your own. But for purposes, I'll just demo this right now. So all I'm going to do is just play the full thing from the beginning and make sure it works.
Welcome to this quick tutorial on how to change the slide size in Articulate Storyline. To start, double-click on the slide area in the center of your screen.
So I'm clicking around, nothing's happening.
Nice work.
Perfect.
Next, you'll need to select the Design tab. Try doing so now to continue.
So clicking around, nothing works, but the Design tab will.
Great. Next, select the slide size setup on the top left of the screen.
So clicking, nothing's happening, but slide size setup.
This will bring up the slide size dialog box. Here you can customize the dimensions of your slide by using a preset option or setting your own custom dimensions. We'll use the preset sizes for now. Select the drop-down preset menu to see the slide options. Nice work. Now select the 16 by 9 slide dimension. Now select OK to finalize the change. Nice work. You've successfully changed the slide size.
Perfect. So this worked exactly how I wanted it to work, and everything's working great. So now the last part of this is just a demo. And again, I know we still might be adding some slides, so feel free to do that as I'm just demoing what this looks like when we import it into Storyline, along with just some important steps. So I'm going to save this one more time. It's saved as a software simulation. Remember that you don't have to do this. This is just for demo purposes. So up here, I'm going to go to import and import PowerPoint. And from there, I'm going to import my PowerPoint. Now, I do want to share that we did share in the video that you can save your PowerPoint as a PowerPoint show. If you want to go back to the video and watch how to do that, you can absolutely do that. The reason you would want to do that is to show your stakeholders if you don't have Storyline yet. Obviously, PowerPoint can't replace Storyline, but it can be a good prototyping. It could be good for prototyping. So just keep that in mind. But you want to make sure you upload it as an actual PowerPoint in Storyline. So I'm going to open this. And I'm going to import all of my slides. And then the next thing that I'll want to do when I get in there is make sure that I change the slide dimensions to 16 by 9 to match the slides. You can also do that first. Perfect. So I'm going to go to design and slide size setup. And oh, perfect. It took over the 16 by 9, which is awesome. So we have that, and I'm going to show you one thing real quick, just as an example from the video if you watched before. All of these are going to set up to slide advances automatically, but instead you're going to want it to advance by user, which is super important. So with that, let's go ahead and preview this. I could have forgotten something, but let's double check. And I won't preview the whole thing because I don't want you to have to sit through it, but I'll preview just the first couple of slides to make sure that this works.
Welcome to this quick tutorial on how to change the slide
Okay.
work. Next, you'll need to select the Design tab. Try doing so now to continue.
Okay. It might look a little blurry just because it's in preview mode, but it looks clear when you see the actual screenshots. So perfect.
Great.
Everything's working as supposed to. And I do just want to click in here and just show you that this is how everything transferred. So this is going to jump to slide 1.2 when the user clicks the rectangle, and it transferred perfectly. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for following along. And thank you. If you got stuck or anything, we'll be posting this at some point very soon. So you can go ahead and finish those projects. And one thing I did want to share, and then Sabrina, feel free to come in after that, is you actually, if you were interested, maybe you were the one that selected tab interaction or something else, the quiz question, I'm going to provide you, or we're going to provide you with all of the storyboards. And so if that's not already dropped into the folders, the initial folders that you saw to download, it will all have the storyboards included. And then when we post this in the replays, this will also be included in the description. So you can go ahead and build all those 3 projects if you want to. But yeah, that's really it. Sabrina, is there anything you want to add or anything that I didn't get to answer that we want to make sure we do?
No, I think that was it for the top of the hour. I guess the one big question, if you do want to answer it too, is, so we did move these over to Storyline. So why prototype in PowerPoint if we're moving over to Storyline?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so really the answer to that, and I said this in my last video, is if you already own Storyline, there's probably not ever a lot of reasons where you would want to prototype in PowerPoint first. Because Storyline, especially if you have Storyline 360, you have the review feature and you can do all of that, communicate with subject matter experts. And so it's not all that effective to PowerPoint or to prototype in PowerPoint first. But if you're just trying to learn how the interactivity works and you don't have Storyline yet, or you're just trying to maximize that free trial, that's really when you would want to use PowerPoint beforehand. So yeah, it really just helps you get adjusted, but generally you would want to either prototype directly in Storyline if you were choosing just between Storyline and PowerPoint if you own that. But yeah, that's really it. So with that being said, thank you everyone so much for attending. So cool to see so many people here. Again, thank you for following along, and really appreciate it. I hope you all join us in the Devil and Pet community because I would love to interact with you all more.
Yeah, thank you all too for helping each other out in the chat because I didn't get to all the questions, but so many of you were super helpful. And a lot of you are asking about the other 2 storyboards. My understanding is those are going to be added to the asset folder that you already have access to. Is that correct?
Yes, it will. And it will also be in the, when we post this on YouTube, it'll be under the description. And yes, absolutely.